Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Keanu. Right, Olive? Keanu might not actually be the great Key and Peele movie we've all been waiting for, and it might not be the John Wick parody we all thought it probably was, although it does reference scenes from John Wick. Apparently the director and Key and Peele both said it is not a direct parody to John Wick, although I thought it was until I saw it. It's understandable to think it does because the plot is similar, or really an action parody that you thought it could be, but it's still really funny. I still had a really great time with Keanu. Watching a cute cat, of course, watching Key and Peele's chemistry together, but also how hilarious they really can be, doing these kind of fake overcompensating alpha male type of accents that were absolutely hysterical. And maybe people's expectations for this are far too high, maybe because they did such great work on the TV show, but if you're coming to Keanu to have a really fun time and watch a fun comedy with a little kitten in it, I don't think you'd really be disappointed with this movie. Rel, played by Jordan Peele, who has just been dumped by his girlfriend until he finds a kitten on his doorstep who he names Keanu and brings him up from a terrible breakup and brings him back and shows him love in his heart once again. And then after 2 weeks, him and his friend, played by Keegan-Michael, are going to hang out that weekend as Rel's wife has gone on a trip with his daughter and his daughter's friends and his daughter's friend's dad, which seems a little weird, but he's fine with it and he's told to loosen up by his wife and really find himself. And so he starts hanging out with Rel and they go to a Liam Neeson's movie. And then unfortunately, after they get back from the movie, they find that Rel's house has been robbed and that Keanu is missing, and they go on a mission to find Keanu and bring him back. And then they realize that Keanu has been taken by the 17th Street Blips, who are a dangerous gang, and lie to them and tell them that they are dangerous assassins called the Allentown Boys to hopefully make an arrangement to get Keanu back, and end up going on drug runnings and drug deals to show the 17th Street Blips how it's done, even though they clearly don't, but they put on these personas to hopefully get Keanu back home and safe, as Rel promised Keanu as soon as he met him. This was directed by Peter Atencio, who directed pretty much every episode of Key and Peele, so this really has the feel of kind of like a Key and Peele sketch, obviously because it's directed by the guy who did most of them. And I kind of like that about it because it's fairly rare to see a big mainstream comedy that doesn't have Apatow all over it, and I kind of like that they actually made a very Key and Peele movie, a very Key and Peele directed and feeling movie. I know even internally they have kind of commented that they feel like next time they can make an even better film. And although it's mainly more about masculinity than it is about being an action satire, the way like Hot Fuzz frankly does a lot better, but it's also kind of not doing Hot Fuzz. It does reference things like Bad Boys, and it does reference John Wick in certain camera shots and stuff. You can tell they probably maybe could have gotten more into that if they wanted to, but it's really more about them dealing with these gangsters and pretending to be the Allentown Boys so that they can get Keanu back. And Keegan-Michael Key's character of Clarence is very much a suburban dad, and he's particularly funny, particularly his love of George Michael, which was really funny, and kind of how he got all the gangsters in the crew to like George Michael and kind of sort of lied to them but didn't really, and got them into it, which was really funny actually. The George Michael stuff really worked. It worked a lot better even than in the trailer. I was surprised how much I was laughing at it. And I really like Key and Peele for the most part. I think the problem with a lot of comedy nowadays, if you're talking about gender roles or masculinity, it can be very pointed and this is what it's about and you know it because I just said it, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, seriously? That seems to be a running theme through a lot of their comedy, which I think really works for Key and Peele particularly, and his ideas that they're able to play off of very well. And the whole idea that he's both challenging his masculinity by portraying these guys who they not normally are, but also that he's found something to believe in and fight for. And I think that honestly has a lot more to be about being an adult and is semi about masculinity, is being a man and being protective over something, which I think very much is part of that. But I had a really good time with this. My wife and I saw this together and we laughed throughout the whole movie. And as I was watching, it's not the greatest comedy in the world, but it's kind of one of those like a 90s SNL kind of movies like Wayne's World. Well, it's not as good as Wayne's World, but like Conehead, those type of comedies where you can tell like the direction's not perfect. You can kind of guess what's going to happen, specifically in this movie. You kind of know all its twists and turns for the most part. There's a few that definitely surprised me, but you're kind of having so much fun, you're fine with it. And that's kind of how I felt about Keanu. Certainly it's not the Key and Peele movie that's just going to launch them to movie stardom. I think most people who saw this would be like, yeah, sure, I'd see another movie with them. And I think they definitely need to have an artistic step up with the next one, but it wasn't like their first season was their best season on TV. I think they just need to get more into it, and clearly they're dealing with a format they haven't dealt with before, and not everyone's just going to suddenly jump into it and it's going to be magic. Not everybody's first feature is Citizen Kane, unless you're Orson Welles, of course, and then your first feature is actually Citizen Kane, but that's a different thing. They did well with it. If they had taken on too much, this is kind of like perfect for them in a way to do this lighter type of movie. It definitely worked within that. It worked within their style. Key and Peele, I think, do very good lead performances. They're really fun to watch. They have very different personas, which I think works for this. And it had a lot of fun to it. You know, I liked seeing various cameos thrown it. One is like pretty much blown for everyone. I mean, you know, it's fairly obvious, but I thought it was really fun. I love seeing someone like Method Man, who I guess has become like kind of a character actor in terms of gangster roles, but he's very good at it. Even Nia Long as Keegan-Michael Key's wife, who I see too little of, and she's not only gorgeous but a great actress, and I wish we'd seen more of Nia Long, frankly. But also Will Forte, who's pretty funny. He's not in it a ton. Looks like he probably filmed it very quickly. I don't think this had a huge shooting schedule anyway, so he could probably just do a few things and then leave. You also surprisingly had Jason Mitchell, who did a really great performance as Eazy-E in the film Straight Outta Compton, and I was kind of surprised, like, Jason Mitchell, like, why was he just like one of the gangsters in it? I was kind of like disappointed. Maybe he really likes Key and Peele and wanted to do it, but I was like, I kind of want him to have better roles than this. Maybe that says something about Hollywood. Maybe it says that he has a shitty agent. I don't know, but I was a little like, oh man, Hollywood, come on. I love seeing Luis Guzman, who's like one of my favorite character actors and actors in general. I love Luis Guzman, and how could you not? But especially, obviously, the star of this film is Keanu, who isn't in it enough, frankly. I wish he was in it more. Obviously, my wife and I saw it because of the cute cat, because we have all of our cats. I don't think it had enough cats. I don't think cats will necessarily like this movie as much because of that. Do you think Keanu should have been in the movie more? What did you think? Are you indifferent? I think he was a cute guy. He's not Buster cute, obviously, right, Buster? Right, Buster, he's not as cute as you. He was pretty cute. I mean, Buster was a cuter kitten than Keanu, frankly, but he did a pretty good performance as a lesser than Buster cat. If he had been able to propel the absolute cuteness of Buster, it would have been a better movie. What? Buster, no! But I will say all the parts with the cat are amazingly good, amazingly cute, if you like that sort of thing. Also amazingly funny. When the cat runs, it's like very much a very kitten run. So it's like, if you're a cat lover, you'll like it because it's very authentically a kitten, because obviously it is a kitten. Its little meow is just like very perfect. Very cute little kitten meow. I like Key and Peele as a cinematic duo. I think they work really well together. I mean, that's kind of stupid to say, I guess, but I think they can work really well in the movies together. I think obviously they have a lot of charisma. A lot of people have said maybe they should work with a different director. I kind of almost don't want them to, because I feel like this director is as much a part of their comedy as they are themselves. So I kind of would like to see them grow and make kind of Key and Peele movies, like the people who made the show making movies. I would like to see that progress, but I think they probably have a better movie in them. But I still think this is a really fun film. I think it's a fun comedy. Just maybe have your expectations lowered. But I liked Key and Peele maybe because I wasn't a huge fan, but also I wanted to see the action movie parody with a cute cat. And although the action movie parody part isn't in it that much, it definitely has a cute cat, and you get a lot of cute little kitten little scenes in it. If you know me, you know I have 3 cats, you know I'm definitely going to see a movie like this with my wife, and we were excited to see it together. That's why I'm reviewing it late, because I got sick and then she got sick and we couldn't see it for a while, and it took a little bit, but I was like, no, we're seeing this together, and it was like a fun little date night because of this movie. And I think if you're seeing it in that guise, it doesn't have to be a date night. You're just having like a light, fun entertainment with the movie. It fulfills that role, and I think it does that very well, and there's honestly nothing really wrong with that. It does what it does. I mean, it's action movie with a cat in it. What did you fucking expect? I just don't get it. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele have a great future ahead of them, and if this was their first feature where they're kind of learning more of what they're doing, it's still a better attempt than a lot of people ever have at their first feature. And I think that shows really the talent they have, that if this is just going to be a fun little light comedy and they can get this done and get this to be as funny as it is, that says a lot about their talent. And I'm excited to see more, and I had a great time laughing, and that's really what you want from a fun comedy date night at the movies. And I think Keanu is the movie that's going to have you laughing in your seat. It might not be the most challenging, most dense, most interesting comedy in the world, but it's at least a fun one, and I was at least satisfied with that. So if you have seen Keanu and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. You know, Toulouse, did you know that Keanu means cool breeze? That's actually what it means. I think. Do you know any Keanu Reeves trivia? Or like Key and Peele trivia? I mean, who do you think... Hot Fuzz was better, right? What do you think? It's not? What do you... You don't want to talk about it. Cats, you know? Cats. See you next time.